Whoa, it sure is a bright morning this morning. I tell you, it's the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm just, you know, I woke up this morning. Oh, by the way, my name's Rick Worth. For you guys that are new to this place, if you don't know what happens in this channel, is what we do is basically I find that that our particular reality that represents anything to do with the Lord has been found to have a certain code underneath it, which makes basically all religions, from way back till now, the same. There's if you were to understand that, there's a top coat that fits a particular group of people, like, Hindu and Buddhism and Judaism and Christianity, that these particular groups all have their own little stories, but they're all, basically based in myth. This is, it's hard for some people to swallow this, but the idea of a myth is that it contains something inside that's of some worth or value. And of course, for thousands and thousands of years, people have been reading these stories by the letter and making sense out of them and trying to seek and find some kind of something to hold on to with them. And in some ways have done it. But it's at the cost of, your mind. It's at the cost of people's blood and feelings. And it also winds up dividing the world and people, and then it creates wars and havoc, and then there's starvation and politics, and all these things come alive, which creates mankind. And then in the Bible, it's really talking about mankind being referenced as some kind of it's a frequency, and the frequency is that of beta. And that beta conscious is called earth conscious. It's the lowest conscious. This is so dubbed down so low that people can exist. All things that are matter represent this particular part of it. But when they talk about having spirit involved, this creates the duality that everything has spirit in it, and they claim that even rocks have spirit, and them trees. And so, today's lesson is going to be about Buddhism, so if you guys don't want to go any further, then click off, but this is to show you that in Buddhism, we're going to be talking about the enlightenment of Buddha, which is a real short story, and it's going to explain, this is an old philosophy that's being looked at now as a religion, which means it's switching over into fundamentalism, which means all of the secrets will be hidden yet again for another group of people who perhaps were the closest and the ones that are holding, where the spiritual chakra is on our planet. All right? But anyways, in order to do some of this storytelling, what it is I link all religions to this code, whereas it's the hidden meaning, it's the spirit of all the text. The spirit of all the text is talking about coming home, and not in the sense of killing yourself by suicide, or coming home as in going to see the Lord, going to heaven, it's that idea of giving up the ghost. No, it's not that. It's while you're alive. It's while you're here. It's while you're breathing. It's while you have blood gushing through your veins. That's what happens. This is a story about finding this place inside of you that'll give you peace, and that and that many people have searched for this particular place. This is that fountain of youth that many have been looking for, and because they can't see the symbolism, they can't see, or they are misguided or taken in another total direction away from what would be considered the truth, or in our situation would be considered the way, and that there is only one way, But man operates with this way. We have like all these different religions, and all of them hate each other. You'll notice I never mentioned this Islam, because it's fake religion. Even though it's a part of it, they're taking their religion that was fake and just thrown into the group to counter the Jews and the Christians. That's all it was for. It's just meant to fuck everything up. And they're doing a good job at it. So this rogue group is working their fake Bible fundamentally as well. The thing is that underneath all scripture is this little thing saying, come home. Be that prodigal son comes home every once in a while, and a beautiful banquet is held for you. And then you're held together tight. You're working with both sides of your mind. You're honoring mother and father, which means uniting the two sides of our minds. And so why I started off with this being about physical and beta conscious. Physical is the male, the mind, the energy of this, of substance, is a male energy. And then the one of our spirit and that of our soul is that of a female energy. And this female energy is invisible. And so, this is why the stories wind up being words made flesh. And of course, we think that, hey, this is Jesus, or this is Buddha, or this is Krishna, or any Lord that they happen to be doing at that time, because the stupid public can't see past, the letter, can't see past it. And of course, our Bible tells us all about the letter. All right. I'd like to find it in some of these other books to see if they have warnings as well. But today we're going to talk about Buddhism, all right? And you have to learn a few things about Buddhism first. Everything around them centers around a wheel. This wheel up here. It's an 8 that's going around Jesus there. This wheel is an 8 cog wheel. The number 8 is about control or having control. It's not a negative number. It's that idea that, all 4 sides. It's the number 4 in duality, all working together as one. At the end of most of all these stories, especially in some of these fairy tale stories, 8 horses ride up at the end carrying the carriage, and that 8 horses, everyone's going together. We're all one big happy family now. And that's basically the whole idea behind this word of enlightenment, is that you have gained some enlightenment. And it doesn't mean that you got this knowledge or you haven't got this, but you found this place that will bring this intuitiveness to you. All right? And so what we have here is we have Buddha. Before he's called Buddha, his name is Siddhartha. And he is born on a full moon in the month of May. Now, full moon means that, it's the idea that this moon is waxing or changing. Remember the stories in us, when you're born, and that's really what this story is about, the enlightenment of Buddha, because when this happens, you're reborn. Okay? The old you's gone. The new you is here. And so what happens with this guy is just on this birth. What is it? I'm going to read the story to you, and it's going to be told to you by their demon. And their demon god. His name is Mara. All right. I don't know why I don't have it stuck in my head. So Siddhartha is Buddha as a child. Mara is telling a little story to Siddhartha. He says, "Listen, this is you. This is your makings." All right, so let's get in with this. This is the coolest thing. So they have the number, the 8. So it's life. The idea that this is the wheel of life. So you got to think of it as, it's about, birth and life and death, we do things in 3s. and nothing stops it. It just keeps going and going and going. All right? This is that wheel of death. And so, in our Bible stories, they always say, what would they say? Like, in the meantime, or, by the way, or what does it say? It does have a word. It says, shoot, why do things do this to me right at the last minute? Like, and it passed bys or something like that. Well, anyways, it's the segues in between the stories, right? And watch, it'll come to me, because this happens to me all the time in conversations. But anyways, what we get is, read second. It says, what do we do read first? It says, here's the introduction, all right? And it's pretty wild. And so the wheel turns. That's how it begins, all right? It's their segues. There is no escape from the wheel of life. There is no escape from suffering. Listen to me, Siddhartha. I am Mara, Lord of Hell. I know what I'm talking about. But I've got to admire your determination. You've been sitting there for weeks, hoping for the solution to life's problems will drop in your lap like a ripe fig. Give up now and save yourself the effort. Wiser men than you, have tried and failed to find an answer. And you will fail, Siddhartha. And the wheel turns. Now we'll talk about the birth. It all looked promising, and of course this is being narrated to you by this devil, all right, who's in charge of everything. All right. He says it all looked promising at the start. You were born on the full moon of May, Prince Siddhartha. It says Siddha, the seer, prophesied that you would grow up and either be a king or a holy man. Of course, your father wanted you to be king and reign after his death and not become some wandering fortune teller. So he decreed that you should live in luxury and never see the world of pain outside the palace, and so never see the need for religion. As the wheel turns, right? So silk and honeysuckles, all these beautiful things and spices. He said every sense was seated, but you were not satisfied. All you kept asking was, what is life about? He says, why are we here? Is this all there is? What lies beyond the palace walls? And so it says, for the first time, you went out of the city riding in a gilded carriage. But you wanted to see the city by yourself, so you escaped into the myriad of alleyways and was horrified by what you saw. An old woman, wrinkled, toothless, crooked. A man eaten up by disease, coughing, sweating, covered in boils. Then by the banks of a river, a funeral procession. The dead bodies was carried to the water's edge and laid gently on a pile of wood. The family trailed behind, crying and wailing in their grief. You stayed until the pile was lit and watched as black smoke bellowed towards the sky. It was the end of your innocence. There is no point to life. All that happens is that you get old, get ill, and die. But on the way back to the palace, a holy man was sitting serenely by the side of the road, begging for alms. He had nothing, but he seemed at peace. Here, he thought, must be the answer. And so the wheel turns. He left the palace in the dead of the night and rode to the far reaches of the kingdom. Oh, you exchanged your robes for rags, and in the forest you found a group of 5 holy men. They were naked and dirty, unkept and squarny. They said by making their bodies suffer, the spirits could be freed. Their spirits could be freed. So you joined them and starved yourself until you were nothing but skull and sinew. Yet still there were no answers. And so the wheel turns. A young woman came to give an offering to the forest gods and thought she had found tree spirit. He took her food and ate his fill. You gave up a life of comfort. You gave up a life of suffering. But neither pleasure nor pain would give you the answer. And so the wheel turns. It will turn. This is like an end of the story, but it's not. This is an ongoing situation here. It says, and so the wheel turns, and it turns from birth through youth till this moment. It will turn on through old age, illness, and death. It will turn on through all your lives beyond, over and over again in a never-ending and meaningless cycle. And you will learn nothing. Experience will not bring you the answer. Alright, now this is a very wonderful little spot here. I'm not so sure I should stop yet. But this was this entity telling him, as he's looking for his answers, he's sitting under this tree in this meditative pose, contemplating what the answer is. Alright? Looking for the riddle. So he comes back into it. So how long are you going to be in that spot? It's been 49 days. It's full moon again, and the morning star is rising once more. What's this? A new idea. A new idea forming? What's this fleeting thought that I can't grasp? It's there on the edge of your consciousness, but getting closer. Show me. It's a little way, he says. What's that? You say that life can never satisfy us because we always want more. You say that only way to achieve peace is to stop wanting. You say the answer is to sit. You say the answer is to sit in the center of a wheel, detached from the world that revolves around you. Only then can a person achieve peace. Brave words, Siddhartha, but they are wasted. Brave words, Siddhartha, but they are wasted. They are no more here. There is no one here to behold your enlightenment. The earth itself is his witness. She conspires with Siddhartha to reject me. He has awoken. He is enlightened. He is the Buddha. Alright. So you'll see that's the end of that little story. I haven't torn it up so much to tell you about the code in it, but you should understand that the 5 people that he ran into in the forest, this is the code coming to life. If they said that they would starve themselves and they would do these things to themselves, these are the works. This is the body going through what it takes to make it to this point. He got to the point of being emaciated, right, and skinny, and all this is in this near-death situation whenever he is found by a woman who comes to him and gives him food he is totally restored back to health again. And he says that certainly is not the way. You know, these painful things that are going on ain't going to work. Are things in your way? All right, I'm being there to take out from the dryer part. We had a big storm. I had to put everything in the little room here, keep from getting wet. So what you have here is you have a story that's being narrated by your mind, by the mind of man, which would call himself this wicked soul. This what he calls himself. I'm the Lord of hell, and I know what I'm talking about. So what does he do? He tells him that you'll never make it. A lot of people have come here before looking for this, and you're not going to find it. And so, you know, he goes and finds it. And he finds out that what he had to do was sit in the middle of this wheel and shut it all off. And then this, like a fig, fall into his lap. This fig is this idea that, you know, that you bloom from within. So, you know, tell me that this is not the same stuff, you know? You know, this woman coming feeding him and turning back into himself again. And listen, all of this, they're all talking the same thing. What's underneath Buddha's scriptures and in his philosophy is this way. It says, he goes, what is this? What's fleeting? What's at the end of your consciousness? What is it that I can't grasp? What is this? And he tells him, a little way. A new idea being formulated, you know, and then, you know, he's trying to say, hey, there's going to be no witness. We talk about witnesses. Witnesses is earth. She says, earth will be my witness. So there's your witnesses. The two witnesses is your mind, earth, and she. You know, they talk about the woman, the female. Those are your two witnesses. You don't need anyone else to know. You don't have to go and tell anyone you're saved. You know, you don't go out and show everybody. That's not what it is. That's what religion does. Religion is an outside thing. These are things that we do in secret. These are stuff that we do with ourselves, inside ourselves. So, anyways, I thought you would enjoy that. And of course, this moon. When you're looking at the moon up there, and when you find out about this waxing and waning, when you've got a new moon coming and you've got the new morning star rising, this is the same as going on. This is so Old Testament, it's crazy. You know, the new star rising, that's, you know, this is Venus. You know, everyone thinks that this is, you know, this is the new you coming up. It's going to be devil. Yeah, oh yeah, because the devil's in here. The devil is steeped. You're in duality, baby. You know. That's how it goes. Buddhism. We're all in this world together, but separated by the word. Just a crazy thing. Learn to get past the word. Love you. See you later.